Thank you for watching this Last Mile Profits video.
The right and wrong peripherals for lockers. What are they? Keep watching to find out more.
Last Mile Profits is brought to you by Parcel Pending by Quadient.
Gary, today I would like to separate the wheat from the chaff in peripherals, but not any peripherals, locker peripherals. How about that?
There's been a profusion of different bits of technology being placed on top, inside, on the side of, in front of, or somehow conjoined with a locker. And yeah, some of them are curious, shall we say.
Well, how about this? Let's have a bit of fun. So first of all, Gary, if we could choose the most amusing peripheral that you've seen, and I can share mine as well. This is good because I'm going to get Gary to think on the spot now. I haven't prepared for this.
Well, there was the April Fool's one last year where somebody had put a cappuccino maker, and I think it was Kiba did a locker. We're going to the Italian market, I think it was. So we put a cappuccino maker in one of the locker compartments. So I think that would be.
You're stealing my thunder. That was me taking a coffee out of a Nearbox in Denmark, I think it was.
No, I don't think so, Marek, because I never read your posts online, so it couldn't have been.
Bad boy. All right, okay. So we've got the cappuccino one. Watch this space around April Fool's time because there might be something even better this year. But in terms of other weird stuff, I'm trying to think whether I've seen something really strange.
I saw something strange, but I don't think it's a funny. Somebody put defibrillator on a locker, which is actually more access to defibrillators will ultimately save lives. I've trained as an EFR, as they're called, myself in my kind of private life, so I am able to work a defibrillator in a reasonably competent way. So luckily, very luckily, never been called upon. Luckily for me and the patient, not been called upon to actually do it. But access to them can genuinely save lives.
Yeah, so you know what? Actually, it means people have been pretty smart in the locker world because I can't think of too many really silly add-ons. But maybe if our viewers have seen something really weird and wonderful, please drop it in the comment below. But Gary, you did mention some. You're right. The defibrillator was impossible.
We can debate a little bit. I mean, I saw John Toohey in Ireland is putting digital video screens into the locker, either taking out a locker compartment and putting a purpose-made screen there, either on the front or on the end panels, and then displaying, rotating video advertising to generate revenue. The reason for asking the debate is that one of our favourite arguments for the locker implementation is to reduce CO2. So we're driving down delivery mileage. We're trying to remove carbon. These screens are fairly energy consumptive. So while it can be revenue generating, it is potentially CO2 consuming. So what's your view on that?
Honestly, in the big picture, and I don't have the data, but this is very dangerous to say this, but I'm going to say it. My gut feel is that in the big picture, probably the carbon is going to be relatively small, especially given that technology is moving forward. But hey, maybe someone much smarter can confirm whether I'm right or wrong on that. I actually think advertising is pretty good, with one caveat. So one of the crazy things is I haven't seen it much, Gary, with lockers, but I'm sure you've had it with bank teller machines, automated teller machines, where there's a huge queue and the wretched machine spends 20 seconds trying to sell you something instead of letting you get your money. So that is what I'd call, maybe not stupid, but counterproductive. But I haven't seen that much with lockers.
No, not with lockers. No, I mean it's I've seen till roll spew out sort of looks like meter after meter of till roll with vouchers and stuff that maybe you're interested in, not interested in. You're walking out to the car park with 2 meters of paper in your hand when in reality most of the time you don't really need any of it. Obviously, Quadient has put drop boxes into all of the lockers in the UK and go into other markets. They will definitely be a feature of the machines going forward.
Can I stop you there? Because I think this is a really good one. I have to say, back in, you ready for this? 2015, when I was still advising InPost, I never understood why they didn't do that then. Let's see whether this progresses. But I think it's a really cool idea. And the idea, Gary, I guess behind it is that when you're doing a return or dropping something off at the first mile, it doesn't need to be separated in the same way. If there's some way of labeling it or putting a number on it, you can just put it into
Well,
the
we
letterbox.
rent the Dropbox to a specific carrier, and the bias of usage in the UK is strongly towards consumer drop off rather than deliver to locker and pick up from locker. So the primary use case is dropping off. In the space that we would normally put maximum 5 compartments, we put the Dropbox, and it drives incredible density. So we opened one door and had over 40 parcels had been safely, securely, and successfully deposited into one of our carrier partners into one compartment. So if you did that into individual compartments, you would end up with a locker the size of an InPost locker, 6 meters long, to try to cope with 40 parcels a night being dropped off into individual doors. So we've shrunk the machine and improved the efficiency incredibly with that.
And I think I agree. Chapeau bathing is a really great idea. Latvian Post did something a little bit similar. They put post boxes together with the lockers and didn't. Am I not right that PostNL did something like that?
Yeah, I mean, you've seen Royal Mail have done a couple of fantastic innovations around their existing postbox fleet. One is turning the old meter boxes into small packet drop-off points, which is super smart. The infrastructure's there already. All the heartache of finding locations, they don't need to do it. And the other thing they've done is this kind of solar-powered cap on a traditional postbox to power a scanner, so you can get first mile scanning on small packets going into letterboxes. Both brilliant ideas.
I think they're great. And, I can see that people are really thinking. You've got the other stuff that I've seen that's been pretty good is pick to light. So when you have a very large locker and, there are several people at the same moment, perhaps using apps, picking up a parcel, it helps you identify exactly, which column your parcel will be in.
Yeah.
There are some, Gary, that I don't like, but actually I've had to eat humble pie because I have been a big enemy of printers because of the fact that it's a peripheral that if something can go wrong, it's likely to be the printer. But
Well, let me give you a couple of stats on our printers. Just let me give you a couple of stats. So in last year, we printed over 500,000 labels in the UK. We're in the startup mode, so it's not huge numbers. 500,000 labels, 7 jams. 7 labels failed to print in 500,000 over a 12-month period in north of 1,000 lockers. And we're now accelerating to the point of label usage that it won't be long before we print a million labels in 1 month. The UK network is going gangbusters, and an integral part of its success, without a doubt, it's not just having a locker, it's the locker that our R&D team found and selected.
Yeah, and I think, Gary, because this must be about 5 years ago, I had a debate with Vinted on this one. And you won't hear this too often, but I think I have to eat humble pie on that one. There are other peripherals that in some specific markets are either, I believe, legally required or would be very much in favor with customers. And an example are cameras, which interestingly, Gary, people actually feel safer with cameras. So I wasn't sure about that. I thought, the consignee may not actually like it, but apparently they do. Plus, it actually avoids fraud because, Marek says he didn't get his parcel, and then you suddenly show a picture. Well, hold on, Marek, at 3:45 this afternoon. Isn't that you picking up your parcel?
Yeah, we have a camera in every locker already, and we have done since the beginning of the company. So we absolutely see the value in it, as long as the image is stored and treated appropriately. So ours are stored locally; they're not shared. They don't go back to the carrier. The only way you can retrieve that image is if Marek says, I haven't got my parcel, or there is some kind of incident related to that pickup point, then only we can go in and get the image out of the locker and share it appropriately, whether it's to the police, the carrier, or to the customer. So used appropriately, photographing people shouldn't be a big issue.
The final one I'd like to mention, it's not really a peripheral, but I think it's something that is so underutilized. I always felt that if you had, an opportunity to leverage the fact that someone is next to a store and they get an in-app voucher, only now for the next 20 minutes, you get 30% off this item. I think that would be really cool. I don't know, Gary, have you seen that used much? Because I haven't.
I think what you've tapped into there is, what do we think the developments of the future are going to be? Using geofencing, using NFC, using digital tokens in smartphones. The barcode as a concept is over 50 years old. It won't be long before it starts to show its age and feel antiquated, and there'll be other smarter ways to interact with the locker. The Bluetooth thing and the app thing, I kind of get it, but people get fed up with downloading apps. But if I arrive somewhere and the first thing I have to do is download an app before I can do business with a company. Do you remember during COVID you had to download a bloody app in every pub? So I don't want. I want somebody to bring me a beer or a sandwich. I don't want to sit downloading an app in your pub. I just don't want to do it. So I think the technology has a little way to go.
Gary, as usual, great discussion. If our viewers have seen any other great examples of peripherals that have been either a bit crazy or they've actually been very useful, let us know. As usual, please click like and subscribe. It helps us keep these videos free. And Gary, great discussion as usual.
It was enjoyable. Thanks, Marek.